Hey, this is my July 2024 update on the latest news, offers and rates for savings here in the UK. A couple of quick nuggets of news for you first of all. One of them involves Chip. They have announced that they will soon be introducing transfers in for their Cash ISA, which will be really, really good news considering the top picks right now for Cash ISA as well. You've got the Trading 212 Cash ISA, which does allow transfers in, but has temporarily paused them because so many people have been trying to transfer cash in. And then you've also got the Plum Cash ISA, which has a lower rate for transfers in. So admittedly, that Trading 212 issue should be rectified hopefully in the next sort of few weeks or months. But anyway, as soon as this one comes through, then that is a good option. If you've already got one paying 5.1%, that might not be a bad one to go for. Also with Chip, and this is actually something which I think you should check with all of your banking and saving apps, but Chip has also in its terms and conditions update made it mandatory for new users to set up a 6-digit PIN. Now this might surprise you, you might even be aware of it, but that wasn't the case before. And if you did steal your phone, something which is rife right now, which we've covered quite a lot over on the website, becleveryourcash.com, someone could then go in and see all your details and potentially transfer it out. Well, now you can automatically, made to do it if you're a newbie. If you're an existing customer, if you haven't been pushed to do it, go and do it. Set it up, put on Face ID if you can as well. And don't stop just at Chip. Look at your other apps as well. So this prompted me to just check some of them as well. And Trading 212, I hadn't activated the Face ID there either. So really important you go and do that. And that's a good move from Chip. And also the other bit of news here also relates to that Trading 212 Cash ISA. And this isn't about the uninvested cash option for the general saving. This is about the Cash ISA itself, which launched just a few months ago. A little bit more information for you here about where your money is actually held, because Trading 212 itself doesn't keep the money. Although it has that financial services compensation scheme protection up to £85,000, that is actually with 3 different banks. That is NatWest, Barclays and JP Morgan. JP Morgan, that's the parent for Chase. That means Chase Bank is part of that mix as well. Now, it says it splits it evenly, your money amongst those 3 different banks. So let's say for argument's sake, you had £21,000 in there. That'd be £7,000 would be in Barclays, £7,000 would be in NatWest, £7,000 would be in JP Morgan Chase. This won't affect many of you, but it's worth knowing about. That obviously means your £85,000 protection is about those 3 banks. So if you do have, let's say, £7,000 put into Barclays and you currently have 80k in Barclays in a separate Barclays account, well, that would in total put you over the top. So just something to bear in mind. Obviously, we hope none of these banks do go under. It's unlikely some of those big guys will, but it's worth just kind of maybe moving money around, maybe probably out of your Barclays, whatever it might be, NatWest, whoever it might be, just to be safe on that. And I have got more information on the channel taking you through exactly how that FSCS scheme does work. So do watch that if you're unsure about if your money is safe. Right, on to some offers that are running right now, which are worth telling you about. Whether you take advantage of them, that's up to you, because they're all a little bit complicated. But the first one is from Virgin Money, and this is the most complicated one of the lot. But they are offering a rate of 6.65 for a 1-year fix, which is really good, right? As you'll see when I get to the top rates later on, that is well above the others, about 1.2, 1.4 above what the next best option is going to be. Sounds good? Well, in order to get this rate, what's actually happening is you're opening up a Virgin fixed rate account at 4.65. And then if you also open up and add money to a Virgin Money stocks and shares ISA, they will boost the rate on that fixed account by that 2%, giving you that 6.65%. But you also have to have money in that ISA, in that stocks and shares ISA, at least £5,000 in there, and then they will match the balances on the other one. So let's say you've put 8k into that stocks and shares ISA. Well, then you can also put 8k into the normal savings account and get that top up, that 6.65% total rate. If you put in £9,000, well, you wouldn't get the bonus on that extra grand. You'd only get the 4.65%. And if you put anything less than that, well, you'd still get that higher rate, but it's all about matching the money in between. Now, the money has to stay in the 1-year fix, obviously, for a year, but it also has to stay in that stocks and shares ISA for a year. So that's something to bear in mind there. And what you need to know, obviously, with investing, I know we don't cover it here on the channel particularly that often, but obviously with investments, there is the opportunity for it to grow. There's also the opportunity for go down. And the general guidance when you're investing is to put money in there with a sort of a timeline of 5 years, allowing you to maybe ride out some of those ups and downs. So although it has to stay in that investment for 12 months, you might want it being there longer because there's a chance it could go down. And that obviously could have an impact on your overall return if you are thinking about this just for 12 months. There's also a 0.75% fee on the investing on the stocks and shares ISA, the money you put in there, which also make a dent on your returns. Now, if you are just a saver, this isn't for you. But if you're someone who does invest and is looking for that long-term horizon there, and you want to get a decent rate on your savings, and you don't mind maybe the limited options available in that Virgin Money Stocks and Shares ISA, it's maybe worth a look. Again, got more details of all of this over on the website. There's another offer for newbies. It's a bit more simple, this one. This one is from Aviva. Now, Aviva have entered the savings marketplace, is what it's called. And this is where you can get open up an account with them, and then they'll have a number of different accounts within there to put your money into. And often they're names you've heard of, maybe you haven't heard of them, but essentially you're just going through this marketplace. They will give you a voucher between £10 and £100 if you open up a new account and keep money, certain levels, between £1,000 and, well, more than £1,000, for at least 6 weeks. So examples here on the table, if you put in between £1,000 and £10,000, well, £9,999, you'll get a £10 voucher. If you put in £10,000 to £19,999, you'll get a £20 voucher, and so on. Again, there are some all right rates in there if you are thinking about doing this. I think the top fix, 1 year fix, obviously, which will be locking you away for more than just 6 weeks, is 5.2%. But there was a 30-day notice at 5.02%, which might not be a bad option. So you put it in, you wait a couple of weeks, then you give your notice. So you're waiting that 6 weeks in total, getting 5.02, which isn't too bad. And then you've got your bonus on top of that. There is also an easy access option. If you don't want that, that pays less at 4.67%. But it's a nice little bonus, a little perk for a short space of time. Obviously, you can keep your money in there longer if you want to. And there's a similar type of offer. This one involves transfers for a lifetime ISA for Tembo. Now, Tembo used to be called Nude. And again, as long as you put in at least, or transfer at least £5,000, then you will get a bonus anywhere between 30 quid and 300 quid. They say that if you are putting in, effectively this means if you're close to those kind of thresholds there, the 5,000, 10,000, 15 and so on, rather than the in-between bits, it actually works out that you're getting a bonus given the underlying rate, which is currently 4.3%, up to actually 5.07%. So that's for 1 year. So effectively that's what you're looking at. It talks about all those numbers, but if you can put in the constant bits, that is not bad. That puts it right up the top, although as we get to later on, we'll take you through the best options. It isn't currently the top paying lifetime ISA, but it's certainly one to consider. Right, that is it for special offers. Now let's have a look at the top paying accounts right now across a range of different categories. As ever, whenever I do this, I always tell you about this. I say this is just the top ones, the picks. Normally the highest paying ones, but sometimes they might be slightly further down, but there's a certain reason why I'm telling you about it in this particular update. Over at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings, there are more options, more details, and the links you can click through to each individual savings account or read off more deeper analysis on some of those. becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. And we update that, me and the team, twice a day during the week. So it's always any new accounts that come along, you'll find them there. But let's start, shall we? And let's start with the current account linked savers, because these are generally the highest paying ones for your easy access money. There are restrictions on many of these, how much money you can put in, but pretty much all of them do require you to have a current account. And if you don't already have this current account, for the most of these, that does mean you will have a hard credit check, unlike normal savings accounts where you don't. That might not necessarily be a problem, might not be something you worry about, but it's certainly something to point out. Now, the top one here is still that Santander Edge Saver, paying 7%. That includes a 2.5% bonus for the first 12 months. After that, it drops down and probably not worth considering after that. This one, the current account that it's linked to, does require you to pay a fee every single month if you do add in some direct debits and add money into them. If you don't do that, you can work around this and just get the interest on there. You can also, if you've got a joint account, open up 2 of these Edge Savers in total. So you can have one personal and one joint, and that counts the person with the joint accounts. Potentially it's 4 of you, well, 2 of you could have 4 of these accounts, because it's each individual one is capped at £4,000, meaning that is a total of 16k you can have at 7%, or potentially less if you are paying the fee. But that's still at the top of the table there. Ulster Bank, if you have an Ulster current account, you can get this loyalty saver paying 5.2%. Does have a minimum balance there of £5,000. Then there's the Barclays Blue Rewards Rainy Day Saver. This one, 5.12% AER on balances up to £5,000. Various hoops you have to jump through, and there is a £5 fee coming to this one. later this autumn. It starts in October, pretty much, that fee. I've covered that in more detail in a separate video, a Blue Rewards review, and an article on the website. So do check that out if you already have Blue Rewards. If you don't have it, I wouldn't go for it for this reason. But there is a bank switching deal that they have just launched, Barclays, worth 175 quid. So that might be a reason to check it out. And then finally, we've got Chase Bank. This one does not have a hard search to open it, so it's a good option. It's 5.1% to open up a savings account once you've got that current account. However, that will drop down by 1% in January of next year. But at least for the moment, it is a decent paying option. Now, if you want ones without any of those hoops, you just want to open up an account, an easy access account, the top one is Kahoot. Their Sunny Day Saver pays 5.2%. However, that has capped at £3,000. However, you can open up a couple of those, as I shared in the update last month, if you want to boost that a little bit. Then we've got a couple of options here, Monument and Oxbury, both paying above 5%, but they have very, very high minimum balances, 20 and 25k there, which is why I've jumped down a few here to Synergy, 4.94%, so we're under 5%, but the minimum you need for that to open that account is £1. Again, they are decent options if those ones we mentioned before don't work for you. Now, there is another one quickly to share with you. This is a little bit different. It's effectively easy access, although it might not be like on the day. It could take a few days for you to get this money out of the account. But this is uninvested cash within a trading 212 account. So different to the ISA that I mentioned earlier on. This one pays 5.2% as well. Doesn't quite have the same sort of protection with you, but it's very, very low risk. Again, I have spoken about that in a separate video, and there is an article on the website if you want more information about that. But that is, a decent rate. As we get to later on, though, when we talk about ISAs, you might be better off with an easy access cash ISA instead. Quickly, let's talk about notice accounts, the top paying ones here. These are quite handy ones to look at if you don't necessarily need the money right now, and you might get a slightly better rate than you can in those easy access ones, but you aren't locking as away as long as you would do with a fixed rate account. The Monument will pay 5.2% on a 45-day notice. It will pay 5.27% on a 2-month notice. Oak North pays 5.37% on a 95-day notice, that's roughly 3 months. And Vanquis 5.2 on 4 months. And United Trust Bank has a base rate tracker, so it's still at 5.25%. That one lasts for 6 months. So next up, let's talk about fixed rate accounts. There's been a lot of movement here, actually. This is surprisingly, they've gone up. This is my update just 3 weeks ago. There has been some improvement here. What we've got here, first of all, some shorter ones for you. 3 months Smart Save via Raisin, 5.05%. 6 months fix from Oxbury Bank, 5.25%. And a 9-month fix for IS Bank via Raisin. Again, Raisin, if you don't know, savings marketplace, similar to that Aviva one I mentioned earlier on, 5.09%. So they're all not bad options that you've got there to in order to fix your money across. If you want a slightly longer fix, then again, as I said, a similar sort of thing where rates have been improving. Top one is 12 months with My Community Bank. This is 5.26% right now. The 18-month Nationwide Build Society members exclusive account is still available. They've pulled their members switching off, a bank switching off, but they've kept the savings account going for now. You must have had a Nationwide account by the middle of by late May. I think it's the 22nd of May to access this, but 5.5% fixed for 18 months. That's a really good option there. And then if we go along that slightly longer ones, we've got 2 years with Close Brothers, 5.06%, 3 years at Hodge Bank, 4.81%, 4 years at United Trust Bank, 4.35%, 5 years at Birmingham Bank, 4.61%, and 7 years at IS Bank via Raisin at 4.5%. These are, as I say, the best ones, the top paying ones right now that we've got. BeCleverWithYourCash.com/savings, as you know, is where you will find more options for each of those different fixed lengths to see ones that might suit you if those ones aren't the right ones for you. Let's look at regular savers now. There's not been any change in terms of the top ones out there where you're linked to a current account. First Direct 7% still available. Cooperative Bank regular saver at 7% also still available. The Nationwide one 6.5% and the Club Lloyds at 6.25%. All very good options for you if you have those current accounts. Potentially not a reason to open up the current account just for these, but if you combine it with switching deals, which are running at First Direct and Lloyds at the moment, then that's a good little combo you can get together. A nice welcome bonus plus a decent regular saver. Interestingly, though, there have been a couple of other new ones that I want to share with you this month, which beat these, potentially beat them or match them, and you don't need to have a current account, or you don't need to have an existing sort of relationship with the Build Society, whatever it might be. First one here is Principality Building Society, offering an 8% paying account, which sounds really good. And it is good because it beats everything else out there. And it gives you an option to pay up to £200 a month in as well, which a lot of these ones, it's only like £50 max a month, which really doesn't make much point. However, the limitation with this one is it is just for 6 months. So interest-wise, you're only looking at getting about £29, something like that. But that's still more in that space of time than you'd get elsewhere. And also Progressive Building Society, they have got a 7% regular saver, a maximum of £300 in there every month. Again, you don't need to have an existing relationship with these places to get it. Over on the website, we have listed other options where you can get a lower rate if these ones don't suit you. But I'm just sharing with you the top ones right now. And finally, let's end on the top ISAs as of today. Best one out there, best paying cash ISA, easy access cash ISA, trading 212, that is 5.2%. There is, if you want to transfer in, I say those transfers into trading 212 are currently paused and the chip ones haven't started yet. So if you do want to transfer money in, the best one there is from Zopa, paying 5.08%. In terms of fixes, Virgin Money still top of the table there for 1 year, but it does require a current account with the bank, 5.05% they're paying. If you don't want to go down that faff, the gap between that one and the ones below it has reduced massively over the last sort of month or so. Secure Trust Bank is 4.95%, so that's not much difference there if you're going to go for that. 2 year, top one here, Beehive, 4.7%. 3 years, Principality Building Society, 4.6%. 4 years, UBL, 4.1%, and 5 years, Beehive Money again, 4.25%. I guess I say, similar to those fixes, other accounts elsewhere, a lot of them have kind of creeped up a little bit recently. Not much, but a little bit, which is really nice to see after the months of things generally falling. And the last one to talk about, I did allude to it earlier on, is a new lifetime ISA. This is for cash, but it's not a cash lifetime ISA. It is a stocks and shares lifetime ISA. But the money you put in there, as long as you don't invest it, or in fact you can choose to invest some of it and keep some of it in cash if you want, but the money that isn't invested, you can choose to have that earning interest as well. And that will pay 5.09%, which is higher than the Tembo offer I mentioned before, which could be up to 5.07%, and the one below that, which is Moneybox at 5%, is just to say in uninvested cash rather than in a cash ISA. Otherwise, it'll work in exactly the same way. And obviously, the thing with lifetime ISAs is if you are putting it in cash, it's because probably you use it for your first home, not for retirement where you really want to have it invested for a much, much longer time because you've got a greater period of time before you do actually hit retirement. Remember, head to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings for information about all of these and many, many more accounts and all the updates. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching this update. Until next time, you can check out these videos for more ways to make the most of your money.